Hello, first graders. In math today, we are going to be using use 10 to subtract. So we've talked about counting back to subtract. Remember, we've talked about using addition to subtract. So if you go, oh, I know what those two numbers would add up together to make, then it's really easy to flip that around and do with subtraction. We've done use 10 to add. So today we're just kind of reversing the process. And I think it's actually even easier, and it's especially more helpful with subtraction. Make sure you have your counters. It's great if you have a double 10 frame. I'm putting a link to one so your parents can print it if you have it at home. If you don't have a printer at home, then just get your counters and set them to the side. And you know how to set them up as if they were in a 10 frame. You can imagine a 10 frame, right? And put the counters kind of in that imaginary 10 frame there on the side of you. Set up the 10, and then any extra can go down a little ways, a little separate. So you need math book, you need your pencil box, and you need your counters. So lesson 4.4, use 10 to subtract. Because, knowing 10 facts are so important, and it's just going to make everything a lot simpler to kind of subtract past a 10. The next lesson, we'll talk even more about that. Today, we're just going to kind of start introducing the process. So we're going to say Austin puts 9 red counters in the first 10 frame. Then he puts 1 yellow counter in the 10 frame, right there. How many more yellow counters does Austin need to make 15? Well, you guys can see that, right? You know that 5 would be 1 more across. So there's 1, 2, 3. Oh dear, I've dropped 1 somewhere. 4, I'm going to put my finger to be the imaginary 5th one. Now, whoops, take a look at that. And do you see down here, it says, explain how the drawing can help you solve 15 minus 9. Because when we know these amounts, right, this piece and this piece together go to, they make the 15. So here I have a row of 5 and 1 more would make 6, right? And then right here I've got these 9. So 15 minus 9, and I can easily see that these 6 are left. That's a little warm up. It says draw to show your work. If you want to pause and draw it, you can, but you don't have to. All right, other side. This is where we're going to start imaginary 10 frame working. So you can make a 10 to help you subtract. 13 minus 9, what does that be? So this is where we really want to actually use counters. They aren't showing that in the book, but when you actually use the counters, remember we've talked about that. When we really use our bodies, it helps make things a lot more clear. So we're looking at 13 minus 9. So we're going to go ahead. And like I said, if you don't want to put these on your book, right, because they're going to slide all over the place. You can put them on the table or the floor next to you, wherever you're working. All right, and we're going to set up 13 counters, and it's minus 9, take away 9, right? So do you see right here I have these 3 that I can just take off really easy, and then I know I've got 10. So here's the 3 off, and then I need to also go back 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Here I've got 6, because I know that 3 and 6 would make 9. So now I've taken that off, and here I've got the 4 left. So boys and girls, this is a strategy that's really helpful when you're doing like 5th and 6th grade math, 3rd and 4th grade math also. And what we haven't done this year too much is practice our tens facts a lot. We were going to do that at school, and now we're not at school. So we're going to be doing that next year in 2nd grade. We're going to go through the process of this strategy right now, even though it may not be super quick because it's such a useful strategy for later. So now let's look at how we're going to actually write that in the book. So 13 minus 9, we can start at 9 right here. Count up 1 to make a 10, and 3 more to 13, and you can see there it is, right? That's the opposite way of doing it than what I did. Let's do this one with the 10 frames the way they do. Start at 8. See 17 minus 8. So instead of starting with 17, do you see how they're thinking addition to subtract? Because they're starting with 8 and seeing what do I need to add to 8 to get to 17. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to start here with 8. Right? 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going up to 17. So we're going to do 2 more. We know that. Do you see how they have that here on the paper? And then now we need to go up to 17. Well, you guys know we're going to have 7 counters down here, right? In this 10 frame? Because 17 is 10 and 7 more, wouldn't we? 7 yellow ones down here. 7, 8, 9. We need the 9 more counters to get to that. So rather than doing it the way I had done it here before, a lot of times we're going to be using that think addition to subtract strategy, and we're actually going to be counting up as we subtract. So here we go. 12 minus 8. So you can see they've got it right here. We're going to go ahead and do 1 and 2 with counters, and then we'll switch to just doing it with drawings if you want to, or you can add in counters on your own. So there's the 8, right? And we're going to 12. So 12 minus 8. We need to do 2 more to fill in that 10 frame, don't we? We're going to count up to 12 here to figure out how much more we need to get 12, because that'll tell us what we would subtract. 12 is 2 more, right? So how many yellow ones? Let's go ahead and draw those in here also. So we're going to have these 2 here to fill up the 10, right? And then 12 is also 2 more. So when we're thinking addition to subtract, that right away really quickly, we can see we had to put in 4 more to get to 12. So if we took those 4 off, we'd be back down to 8. 11 minus 9. Again, we're going to do these 2 actually with the counters. And then next page, if you want, we can switch to just drawing. Now, 11, oh, minus 9. I thought it said 8. 11 minus 9. So we need to fill in the 10 frame first of all. There it is, bulk. And then 11 is 10 and 1 more, right? So how many yellow ones did we add in? When we use think addition to subtract along with making a 10, it's quick and easy. We filled in this 10 frame. We had 1 more to make the 11. So it's easy to see that was 2 of them, wasn't it? Now on the next page, we're going to try just doing the drawing. If you want to, or if you're feeling at all confused, also do the counters, because remember, working with your hands gets your mind understanding it so much more. So here we go. 14 minus 9. Can you see they've put 9 in this 10 frame already with 1 empty space? So there's the 10, and we need to go up to 14. So that's going to, we need 10 and 4 more to make 14, right? Well, and then what is that? We've got 1 here and 4 more in there. You know what that number is. Go ahead and write it down. 11 minus 8. You can see right here they've got 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to fill in the 10 frame and then get up to 11. For 11, we need 10 and 1 more. So there it is. I'm going to add just a bit of yellow to each of these so that I can see for sure I'm working with that other set. And now it's easy to see, right? 2 and 1 more. What number is that? Write it right there. 15 minus 8. So we're thinking addition to subtract. We're saying, what are we going to add on to 8 to get 15? So we're going to fill in that 10 frame, and then we're going to go ahead up to 15. There it is, right? 10 and 5 more. 5 is a row. I'm going to give them a little bit of yellow so it's really clear to people. This is my other set. And now I can count the 5, 6, 7, and write that right there. 17 minus 9. We're starting with 9. We're going to go up to 17. I need to fill in 1 there. Well, 17. You know that's going to be 7 more, right? There it is, the 7 more, and we had 1 up there, so what's that? These 7 down here in the extra 10 frame, plus 1 other one. So boys and girls, when you look at it and think about it this way, it is so easy. It's really valuable, and one day you're going to just have it completely memorized that 15 minus 8 is 7 and 17 minus 9 is 8. But until you have that memorized, actually thinking about it, scientists who study people who are really good at math, they're more likely to do this. Even though it's a little slower, their brains are thinking about it this way, and they turn out to be better at math, even though it takes them longer because they're thinking about it more deeply. Last page. Now, look, my marker bled through a little bit. We're just going to try to ignore that. We're going to use the 10 frames to make a 10 as we think addition to subtract. Alice has 18 beads. 9 are red and the rest are yellow. Well, our picture is sure going to match them, right? We're going to fill in this 10 frame. And then 18, you know we need 8 more, and you probably already know the answer, right? Because we're going to have 8 down here and there's 1 there. So what is that? It's so obvious, right? Especially these ones with 9, because you know you've just got those extra ones down here in this 10 frame. And then the 1 more from up there to fill in that 10 frame. How many yellow beads is that? John had some stickers. He gave 9 to April, and then he had 7. How many did he start with? So all these other subtraction ones have told us how many it started with, and we counted up the extra. Well, here we know what to count up, right? Here is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? A 10 frame with 1 empty spot is 9. So he had 7 once these 9 went away. So let's go ahead and draw in the 7 that he had after these 9 he gave away to April. So here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Let's count again to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now what number is that altogether? Can you tell? We have a full 10 frame, and then down here we have a full row of 5 and 1 more to make 6. So what is that if you have a 10 more? 10 and 6 more. Down here, last one. How would you use make a 10 to subtract 15 minus 8? Well, let's take a couple of these off right away, right? Because this doesn't show 15. So that's not it. That might. This might. Do you see what's wrong with this one? This one here is just 9, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we are doing 8. So it's definitely not that one. So take a look at those two. Which one shows a way to use make a 10 to subtract 15 minus 8?